Hey you guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Brad. This is Firefighters Financial Toolbox. Today we're going to talk about something that I feel is important. Where do we keep our cash? All right, we know that right now with all the things that are going on with the pandemic and all the other stuff, the economy, that we need to carry extra cash. We need to keep an emergency fund all the time. But where do we keep it? There's no value in keeping it here. You guys know I'm a big fan of Ally. I've been with Ally for 8 years now. Unbeknownst to me, they cut their rate from 1.5% down to 1.25%. Now you guys know I've made a bunch of videos on the rate cuts. It's been happening. It's going down. The Fed in March dropped the rate to 0. So I'm not surprised it happened, you guys. I understand it had to happen. And so rather than getting mad about it, I decided I would take a step back and think about where I came from. So when I first started with Ally back in 2011, you may remember we were coming out of this thing called the Great Recession, and interest rates were horrible. I remember going to the bank, my bank, and trying to get a CD, and an 18-month CD paid 0.6%. Now, that was at a mega bank, Bank of America, so that's beside that. Anyway, I started looking around to find where I could get a better rate, and I found Ally. I'd never heard of them, and they were offering a 12-month CD at 1%, and they had an 18-month CD at 1.4%. And I thought that was amazing because it was almost 3 times what the other one was paying for 18 months. They also had a money market account, which at that time was their highest paying account, and it was paying 0.95% if you started with, I believe, $1,000. I'm not sure because it's been long enough. But you guys, it was 0.95% and no special rules for it. So I signed up for that. I put, I don't know, $5,000 into a CD and locked it up for 18 months because I was like, I'm getting over 1%. Then as time went on, as things do, the rates went up. Now, you guys can remember back in like last July, I mean, I had a Wealthfront account that was paying 2.57% at one point. I also have always kept a small CD going as a second tier to my emergency fund. Now, all of a sudden, Ally was paying almost 2% for their online savings. This was early in 2019. So I switched most of the money out of my money market and put it into the Ally savings. And I don't remember the exact date, you guys, but it was higher. So I went and moved the money from one account to the other. And since then, the Ally savings account has stayed higher. And the CD rates went up. The CD that I currently have that expires in June, you guys, is 2.55%, which seems really high now. But back then, the funny thing is I almost didn't renew it because the one that expired was 2.95% for 1 year. We had a drop of 40 basis points and I almost didn't renew it. Thankfully I did because, you know, I'm getting a little more. But that's going to run out in June, and I don't know what I'm going to do to park my cash when I get it out then, because nothing's there. So I decided I would take a look at Ally's thing. Now, I'm not faulting Ally. The Fed has 0 rates. They got to make money somehow. I saw it coming. But for all the other rate cuts, we always got an email that said, hey, we're really sorry due to the rate cut. We had to drop this. This time, I didn't even get an email. Now, I don't know if they're trying to slide it in on the sly or maybe they just haven't got the email to me yet. But anyway, no hard feelings, Ally. Just wanted to say, let's take a look at what's normal now. So now, as I said, the online savings rate is 1.25% on all balance tiers. If I look at their money market account, it's 0.50, so 0.5% on all tiers. So I decided, well, let's look at what a 12-month or a 18-month CD is paying. So for a 12-month locked up CD, I can get 1.35%. And for 18 months, I can get 1.4%. And you guys, to get 1.5%, I have to take that length out all the way to 5 years to get a 1.5%, which is what I was getting on my online savings a week and a half ago. So where do we park our cash? It's a hard question, you guys. Does anybody out there know a bank that's offering a higher rate? Now, I've gone through the shopping and the banks and moving around, and I've had Wealthfront and I've had Ally. I'm not going to keep moving my bank every time I can find 0.5%. So let me give you an example. Let's say I have a $10,000 CD. Right now, if I had that in cash, I would get $125 in a year in interest. If I locked it up in their 1 year CD, I would get $10 more to lock it up for a year, because it would go from 1.25 to 1.35, which is $135 instead of $125. To me, that's not worth it. I'd rather have the liquidity of my money. I'm to the point now where I would almost rather just invest it, and if I have a loss, it might still be better than what I'm getting for interest. You guys, I'm not advocating that you don't have an emergency fund. I think everybody should have an emergency fund, especially right now. But just know that your emergency fund is not going to make you any money. And actually, at 1.25% and inflation growing at about 2.5% a year, you're actually losing money to keep it. But you got to have it, right? You got to have it on hand. You got to have something saved for emergencies. If you guys have a better option of where to save for your emergency fund, put them in the comments. Let me know. I'm curious what people are doing out there, because I'm getting sort of frustrated with it. I knew it was coming, but even so, it's like it just keeps going down. It's almost down to where it was when I started and really got serious about saving money, you guys. So anyway, I hope you got something out of this. If you did, drop a like. It really helps your algorithm. If you're not already subscribed, you guys, hit the button, ring the bell. You get notified every time I make a video. We talk about investing, finances, taxes, retirement here. If you guys have something you want me to make a video about, put it in the comments. I'll do it. Thanks a lot.